Hello! Today we're going to explore the...
That was scary!
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Young and Stuff. Today I'm going to talk about the Myrtles Plantation. But before I do, if you like origin stories and little-known fun facts, then you're in the right place, because that's what I do. So hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, ring the bell for notifications so you get updates on all future episodes. Alright, let's go. The Myrtles Plantation was built in 1796, and it was originally called Laurel Grove. The man who built Laurel Grove was General David Bradford, and he lived alone for several years at first until he was pardoned by President John Adams for his role in the Whiskey Rebellion of 1799. It was at that point that he had his wife Elizabeth and their 5 kids move in with him, but they only got a few years with him until he died in 1808. Elizabeth ran the plantation until 1817, and it was then that she handed it over to her son-in-law, Clark Woodruff, who was married and had 3 kids with her daughter, Sarah Matilda. But between 1823 and 1824, Sarah and 2 of her kids got yellow fever and died. And just a few years later, Elizabeth died in 1831. So Clark and his one remaining daughter moved to Louisiana and ended up selling the plantation, its land, and all the slaves to a man named Sterling in 1834. Sterling and his wife did one heck of a makeover on the house, essentially doubling its size, and furnished it with all kinds of fancy-smancy stuff from Europe. And it was at this time that they changed the name to the Myrtles because of the crepe myrtles that grew in the area. Sterling died in 1854, and he left the house to his wife Mary. Somehow, the plantation made it through the Civil War, but you know all that fancy schmancy stuff that I mentioned? Yeah, that got stolen. In 1865, Mary hired William Winter to manage the property as her lawyer and agent. William was married to Mary's daughter Sarah. Different Sarah. And they had 6 kids together, but one of them died at the age of 3 from typhoid, because that's something that you died from back then. Yes. The family fortune was lost after the Civil War because it was all Confederate money, and the Winters had to sell the plantation, but then were able to buy it back 2 years later. In 1871, William was shot on the porch and died right there. But the story that's told is that he tried to get back inside and then he died on the 17th step of the stairs going up to the second floor. Why he would be going up to the second floor, I don't know. I don't know. But that's oddly specific. That's like a child that is trying to explain to their parents why they were late coming home from school. You almost had me there, until you started adding all the weird specifics. Sarah died on the plantation in 1878, and Mary Sterling died in 1880, leaving the plantation to her son. But he sold it, and the next several owners sold it, and it changed hands a bunch, all through the end of the 1800s and through the early 1900s, until the 70s, when James Myers bought it, and he ran it as a B&B. And it's actually still being used for tours and overnight stays. The ghost stories started around the 1950s, when the current owner at the time started to notice odd things happening around the property. So she began to inquire about the history of the property, and thus the tales of a woman in a green turban wandering the halls, peering into the faces of sleeping guests, and sometimes even awakening them, began to circulate. It's said that this woman was a governess who had previously been mistreated, and so she arrived with her ear cut off and her child taken from her. Not knowing the fate of her missing child has her still wandering the halls and wandering the property looking for her missing kin. This is likely where the legend of Chloe derived from. Legend has it that a slave girl poisoned the wife Sarah and 2 daughters of the plantation owner by baking oleander into a birthday cake. So, this legend involves Clark Woodruff and his wife Sarah and their 3 children. Sarah and 2 children died. Those children's names were Africa Gale, James, and Mary Octavia. Africa Gale and James were the 2 children that died from yellow fever, along with Sarah, over the course of 1823 and 1824. So, yeah. The details of this story differ depending on the source. Some say she was having an affair with the owner, Clark Woodruff, and was afraid of being sent back to the fields, so poison was meant to keep her useful in the house with the need for a nurse. Other tellings say that she was horribly abused and wanted revenge. In this version, she was caught eavesdropping and had her ear cut off, so she wore the turban as a way to hide the scar. Either way, all versions of the story end with Chloe being hung on the property and then being thrown off the bridge and weighted down, and now she haunts the grounds. A photograph taken in 1992 for insurance records captured this apparition and was featured on National Geographic Explorer as authentic and unaltered. When Sarah and her daughters died, drapes were placed over the mirrors in the house, as was the custom then, so that their souls would not be trapped on this plane. However, 1 mirror was missed, and all 3 ended up trapped in the house. A face, childlike fingerprints, and even claw marks of Sarah trying to break free have all been seen in the mirror. And the 1975 owner even claims that he almost died, or was almost killed, when a mirror flew off the wall 20 feet to hit him in the head. The house is on the 3rd mirror in that location, and all of them have experienced this phenomenon. These myths are still featured on ghost tours of the plantation, despite the verifiable proof that Chloe never existed. Sarah died of yellow fever, and 2 of her 3 children, a boy and a girl, died over a year after her, not the same day. The history of the house has certainly been embellished, as these stories are passed on with Union soldiers dying, gambling disputes, and more murders than on public record. Over the 225-year history of the grounds, owners and guests have witnessed or heard footsteps on stairs, doors rattling, lights flickering, pianos playing by itself, and children crying. A film crew has even said that furniture was returned more than once to its original placing after being removed for set placing. There has certainly been enough tragedy and death recorded to account for all these occurrences, but probably not for the reasons being marketed to the supernatural crowd. That's it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to my channel, and while you're there, ring the bell for notifications so you get updates on all future episodes. Wow. Oh man, I'm filming. So, you're watching me right now because I'm looking at the camera. I know the deal. I don't know what ghosts do. I got so many names to remember. I'm a ghost. Lord. Oh. I think I threw myself off because I made myself laugh. They just stand there, stoically.
I'll get.
I'm a ghost.
You're scared.
It's all good. Well, maybe I wouldn't be scared. Like, ooh. Okay, let's go. Got that? We're having fun.
Now scream.
Grr. Arg.